When you're crashed out of a race and in no mood to be interviewed, but there's a pit reporter in your face with a microphone, how do you handle it?
You know, if the shit hits the fan in a huge way and he bounces off the wall and staggers back to the pits all limping and a microphone stuck in your mouth and says, what happened out there? I mean, your first initial remark is going to be, why don't you stick your microphone somewhere else?
It refrains me from not beating the out of you right now because you ask me stupid questions. But since I'm on probation, I suppose that's improper to say as well. If you could talk about racing things, we could talk about racing things, Bob.
Words out of your mouth are kind of like the bullet coming out of a gun. You can't put it back. So even in the times of disappointment or anger, you've got to think before you speak. And if you don't know for sure what happened on the racetrack, let's say in an incident, make sure you say, you know, in my mind I saw it this way, but I really want to look at the tape and make sure. But right now, obviously, I'm upset. Be careful about pointing blame, because I can guarantee you what's going to happen. The guys in the television truck are going to have multiple views of the incident, and they're going to show the picture while you're telling your story. The picture and your words had better match.
The adrenaline is really flowing. Your heart rate's up around max all the time. And to suddenly cut it off, have a crash, and then expect to behave as if absolutely nothing had happened, I think is a bit tough.
It's okay to show your emotion because, after all, you're human and things happen in motor racing. And one of the best examples that I can think of involves a countryman of mine, Marcus Ambrose, in the nationwide race at Montreal a few years ago when he was wrecked by Robbie Gordon. Now, naturally, you would expect anyone to come out and throw things, kick things, perhaps swear and cuss on camera, which of course we don't encourage you to do. And yet Marcus smiled and he said, that's racing. I promised myself I'd never get angry so long as I was in NASCAR, and any day in NASCAR would be a good day. He smiled, and that, handling himself with that much class and dignity, carried him so much further.
Kyle Petty once gave me the best advice that I've ever heard for a young driver, and he said he got it from his dad, whom he calls King. He said, look, your day may be over and you may be pissed off at somebody or at yourself or at luck or whatever it might be, and you may not feel like communicating with anybody. But there's a whole room full of people back here in the media center whose job it is to talk about you. And you can still get your sponsors out there and you can still get your publicity simply by dealing with them. Your day is over, but their day is just beginning. And you can ingratiate yourself and get a whole lot more publicity if you're helpful with those people.
I think the key is when you're on my side of the fence in terms of grabbing that great interview, you want to be in on the action as soon as you can. So if someone's had a problem out on the racetrack, they've got run into, they've just crashed the race car, you want that emotion. So that's a very important part for the TV people to try and grasp and send that message back to the people sitting at home on their sofa watching the show.
If you get a silly question, then you have to become the teacher. You have to start your sentence and your response, in a manner like, well, what you have to understand about driving the race car is. And if you can help a journalist in that way, if you can make them sound more knowledgeable, I mean, they're human beings, they have egos too, and they're going to appreciate that, and they're going to want to say nice things about you.
Some of us have been around the racetrack for years, others are brand new, because let's say there's a new racing venue in a city, or you go to a street race that hasn't had a race before, or there's a new reporter on the beat that's going to come and cover this big event. They know nothing about it, and they may ask you a question that to you is plain as day. How silly could it be? Why can't you understand that? But you've got to understand from their point of view, they may not know the nuances of the sport. Take your time, explain to them what goes on. There's never a stupid question to a reporter. Make sure you answer it with respect. Tell them the whole story. You're trying to sell not only you, but the sport that you love.
No sunglasses. You know, it's, I know you may be getting a nickel or a dime to wear the sunglasses, but the eyes are the window to the soul. That's what we want to see you responding to the question in television.
It should be mandatory for drivers to take off the shades for interviews. The people want to see their faces, and I think for drivers to hide behind the shades. The hat, okay, well, you're going to get some advertising out of the hat, and they want to advertise their sunglasses, but really, I think the damage they do is far outweighs the good they do by wearing their bespoke shades.
It's great that you may have a sponsor that provides eyewear or sunglasses. Put them up on your head, but when I come and do an interview with you, I want to see your eyes, and so do the public.
People want to see your eyes. They want to see the passion in your eyes. They want to see when you're mad, they want to see when you're sad, and they definitely want to see what your eyes look like when you're happy because you won.
To finish first, you must first finish. The only way to do that is to drive safely. It's obvious we tell the guys to go fast, but I mean, first and foremost, they have to be safe.